I want to give you the big picture, the really big picture, where I think everything is going. And it's obviously mainly about the digital asset space, because I think it's the single most important thing for everybody to understand. And in order to do that, I'm going to give you my journey of discovery so you can piece together some of what I've learned on my way, what I think this means and why I chose Bitcoin and then cryptocurrencies, why I diversified, what I think the actual space is really headed, and where this whole thing is going and how it fits in to the future of everything.
In the complex maze of global finance, Raoul Pal stands out as a beacon. He's not just a macro analyst, he's the mastermind behind Global Macro Investor, a firm dedicated to deciphering global macroeconomic events. For investors looking to chart a course through these unpredictable waters, understanding the global macro environment has never been more crucial. Welcome back to Money Value Academy. It's always fantastic to see familiar faces and newcomers alike. If you're passionate about understanding the intricacies of finance and maximizing your money's potential, you're in the right place. We've got some incredible content lined up for you today, so without further ado, let's dive right in. In a world currently witnessing everything from wars to skyrocketing global debts, extreme geopolitical tensions, and an intensifying liquidity crisis, understanding the macro perspective is pivotal before making any significant moves in the financial arena. Predicting the future is a dicey game, but if there's one element that's glaringly evident, it's the emerging prominence of Bitcoin, as emphasized by Raoul Pal. As the giant of the crypto space, Bitcoin is being viewed by many as a cornerstone for the future of the global economy. Pal's vision paints a new dawn, a transformative era that will redefine markets, economics, and the very fabric of society. And at the heart of this monumental shift, Bitcoin. The linchpin we might just need to lay the groundwork for an evolved financial ecosystem. Furthering this perspective, this ex-Goldman Sachs luminary emphasizes a troubling trajectory. The incessant spiral of global debt makes it almost inevitable that authorities will continue their printing spree. This may persist until our existing financial infrastructure crumbles, paving the way for a complete financial reset. And this scenario, according to Pal, amplifies the potential of Bitcoin. A decade's worth of data has revealed a trend. Whenever central banks, including the Federal Reserve, go on their printing escapades, Bitcoin doesn't just keep pace, it outshines. It excels not only against the backdrop of a dwindling currency value, but also eclipses other investment avenues, whether it's stocks, bonds, or real estate.
Let's go back to the beginning. So 2008, in fact, I'm going to go back to 2000. 2000, we started to see the debt bubble increase and the rise of central banks. Now, the money illusion meant that lower interest rates, people thought, I'm going to take on more debt. So they took on more and more debt. And that led to the housing bubble, as we know, and then that blew up and almost brought down the world's financial system. Debt was the big issue. And the only answer at this stage became the printing of money, because there was no other way to deal with it. And many people think, well, the bankers could have gone under, maybe we should have let everything clear. Well, at this point, with this many old people as baby boomers in the retirement, into their retirement ages, you would have wiped out everybody's savings and investments too. And that is okay if you're starting from nothing, but anybody who'd started with anything would have been entirely destroyed. So the only thing to do was try and manage crisis via the role of the central bank and the merging with government policy and fiscal policy. But after 2012, I wanted to make sure that there was a way out. Now, that was the first time I wrote an article. I think it was about 2013. I wrote an article called The Life Raft, where I talked about gold and, in fact, Bitcoin. I had started to have Bitcoin on my radar screen as some good friends of mine, some Global Macro Investor members, had been involved in early days. I was going to set up the world's safest bank. That was the idea. A bank that only held US treasuries and that any money on deposit was entirely matched by treasuries that were held at the Fed. No rehypothecation, no nothing. So it was kind of a bank outside the banking system. Macro does matter to Bitcoin, doesn't exist in a vacuum. And so it was off my radar screen. And, I was looking at most macro opportunities. So 18, 19, we saw some interesting opportunities in the bond market. I had always said that crypto and Bitcoin in particular and macro were the same thing. They just didn't know it yet. And most participants didn't know it and didn't understand it. Crypto came from a different community. It came from a community of developers, the kind of cypherpunks. It came from Austrian economic school kind of philosophy. It came from libertarian philosophy. It came from a number of different things, but it started to attract the attention of finance people, particularly the macro guys like myself. So when we saw Bitcoin, one by one, people moved across. Bit by bit, everybody from the macro world, Stan Druckenmiller, Paul Tudor Jones, Alan Howard, you name it, they're all moving across because they've seen the magnitude of the opportunity, because we all knew that they weren't parallel paths, they were convergent paths, and they all converged. So that's when I got really excited when Bitcoin collapsed in the big liquidation. It had been building this beautiful chart pattern, that beautiful, massive, gigantic wedge I called the best chart pattern in the world, and a break of 10,000 was going to be the confirmation. And I loaded up with every single penny that I had available. And so I put it all in to Bitcoin, and it broke out. Because what was going on was we were now going into the biggest recession, maybe in all recorded history. Gigantic rise of the financialization of the millennial population. So if you look at the massive growth in Robinhood, the massive growth in Coinbase, those 56 million accounts that Coinbase is coming to market with, and you see that globally, that is a younger population that is just financialized. This recession we've had was the one, and who knows why, but it was the one that brought them all into the financial markets. In the investment world, this is creating a huge new source of demand. And it's very exciting for people like us at Real Vision. It's very exciting for the crypto industry. It's very exciting for the financial industry as everybody kind of tries to catch up now and create the right product for the right world, which looks to me like it's a much more optimistic world. The reasons why Cathie Wood's ARK Invest have done so well is because the young people are investing for the future, and we're seeing it, and we should encourage it.
As with many proponents of sound financial principles, Raoul Pal resonates with a compelling argument. He envisions the pressing need for an evolved financial structure, especially when current practices seem hell-bent on printing currency as a remedy for every economic downturn. With debts piling up, the question isn't if, but when even mighty economies like the U.S. could echo the financial chaos seen in places like Venezuela. There, assets might be witnessing a surge in their dollar valuation, but the grim reality is that they're barely keeping pace with currency devaluation. The writing on the wall couldn't be clearer. Our global trajectory hints at an imminent financial transformation. And Bitcoin might just be the tool crafted for this very moment in history. A glance over Bitcoin's journey since its inception 14 years ago attests to its resilience. It has weathered storms, navigated tumultuous tides, and emerged robust, underscoring its potential to not only safeguard wealth, but enhance it in the long run. After delving into Raoul Pal's insights, it's time to turn the spotlight on you, our valued viewer. What's your take on the matter? Do you concur with the sentiment that Bitcoin is poised to traverse and triumph over impending financial upheavals? And could it indeed be the bedrock upon which we reconstruct a modern global financial framework? We're eager to hear from you, so share your perspectives in the comments below. But before we wrap this up, if this discussion piqued your interest and you're keen on diving deeper into such financial intricacies, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And for those who haven't yet, subscribe to Money Value Academy. Ensure those post notifications are on so you're always in the loop with our latest content. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey.